Hey everyone, it's Mike. Before we start the episode, I have a quick question to ask. Do you own a brewery? Do your customers love trivia as much as I do? Well, then you better listen up, because Geeks Who Drink weekly trivia nights are the cornerstone of event programming for over 650 breweries and bars nationwide. Geeks Who Drink Trivia is consistently fun and low-effort way to build a community of regulars, because we all need our norms, cliffs, and all that, but we want to bring more people in as well. So you can even turn that slow weeknight into the busiest night of the week. So get started with this exclusive offer for my taproom listeners and get your first quiz night free. Go to geekswhodrink.com/taproom and enter promo code taproom. That's geekswhodrink.com/taproom, promo code taproom. And now onto the episode. All right, and we're back. This is episode 82 of the Taproom Podcast, and I'm your host, Mike. Oh, man. Ooh, it's been a fucking hot one out here in Southern California all week. And I guess, can't complain too much because, it seems like we've had kind of a mild summer, but yeah, this weekend in the triple digits, it's been a little rough. Going to the pool a little bit, gonna have a few brewskis and taking Morgan. Morgan probably could jump in there. So she's a wild woman. But yeah, this week's episode is with Tyler Sadler, also known as @Tyler's Brew on Instagram, the head brewer of Shadow Grove Brewing, also the co-host of the Brewed Up podcast. I actually got to meet Tyler way back. When was it? It was an event. It was a Pink Boots event over at Alchemy Craft in Montebello. And man, she's so nice. And we got to meet there. We had a beer or two. We'd been kind of talking about doing an episode for a while, so we finally got to do it. It was exciting. And she's just so nice, and she's so, good at what she does. Can't say enough good things. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear that. We talk about her craft beer journey. It's funny because it's kind of similar to Hannah's journey when it comes to how they got started in the industry. So honestly, yeah, I'm excited for you guys to hear that. And, and I always love hearing feedback. So if you guys ever, want to, let me know what you think of an episode, or if there's other maybe questions you want me to ask, maybe another brewer or something like that, just let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram. It's @the Taproom Podcast. Also, the link in my bio on the Taproom Podcast is there for t-shirts. So if you want to support the show, you can go purchase a t-shirt there. All right. Let's see what we got. The NFL's back. The NFL is back. And what a way to start it. The first two games, my Packers lost. Hopefully Jordan Love's okay. They said it wasn't an ACL, so fingers crossed it's nothing crazy. Maybe just like a knee sprain, hopefully. But they said the ACL was intact. Thank the Lord. But honestly, yeah, so that was a good game. The Chiefs game, man, what going down to the end. What a crazy way to end it. But that was a fun one to watch. What else we got this week? I know there's a full slate of games tomorrow. If you guys are in the area or the Anaheim area, go check out Brewheim. They are the Drunken Gentleman. Josh, he's actually, hosting an event there. So that should be pretty fun. I believe it's from 10 to 8 p.m., 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. So yeah, definitely go check it out. I'm going to try to get down there. It just depends. I have a recording in the morning with Brew Without Borders. So that should be pretty good. I'm excited to talk to them. And what else we got coming up? I got a Brewers Roundtable coming up. I'm not going to say who it's with, but it should be pretty good. That's going to be, I'm recording that on the 19th. So in a couple weeks. So it's exciting. I want to say I want to say I'm recording next Sunday as well. I have to check my calendar. College football this weekend too was, freaking Michigan just getting freaking beating the crap out of by Texas right now. I think the last time I checked, it was 34-6. Over on that game was 42. So that's just about there. Another one, like Penn State struggling with Bowling Green right now. That's kind of a tough one. Let's see, another one, Syracuse beating Georgia Tech 31-14. Kansas State's losing 20-13. So some early shockers. I had a feeling Texas was going to win anyway. Obviously the spread showed it was like 7.5, but I figured Michigan would be able to give it at least their defense would keep them in it for a while. But yeah, they're they need better quarterback play for sure. And I know they're working on their quarterback situation, so we'll see. What else we got? I think that's... Oh, I was going to talk about the SC LSU game. What a game that was coming down to the end. I was excited that SC won. So, happy for them, but we'll see how the season continues to progress. I felt like the defense was better. They weren't really getting pushed around, which I was worried about. So thankfully that didn't happen. But yeah, as we're ramping up football season, baseball season starting to come to an end here when it comes to the postseason being in a few weeks. My Braves, I mean, depends if they can get healthy. They just had so many injuries with losing your, Austin Riley, losing Ozzie, losing Acuna, losing Strider, and, even a bunch of other players throughout the season. That's kind of tough when you're using you lost 4 of your starting lineup. Oh, your opening day lineup. So yeah, but I think that's all I got. So, we'll jump into the interview. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, Tyler's so nice. And I can't wait to get out there to hang out and have a beer. So that'll be exciting. Yeah. Hope you guys stay cool. If you're in Southern California, stay cool. Crack some brewskis. Obviously, be safe. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, hope you guys enjoy. Oh, you know what? I had one more thing. You know what? I'll talk about that in the outro. All right. So stay tuned for the outro and enjoy the interview with Tyler. All right, guys, we're back in the tap room, and I'm your host, Mike, and I have a very special guest on today. My guest is Tyler Sadler. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. And Tyler, she's a head brewer at Shadow Grove Brewing, and also a podcaster and MJF scholarship winner as well.
Yep. I wouldn't say a head brewer yet, but getting on the way.
Oh, you got this.
Lead brewer is the title.
There you go. That'll work. But yeah, could you tell us? First off, I know you have a beer. Could you tell us what you're drinking today?
Yeah. So before I left work today, I grabbed a growler of one of my newest recipes. Not a super exciting style, but it's a golden ale, so it's nice and golden, as you can see.
No, it looks gorgeous.
My boss called it the hair necessities, which is...
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I don't know, all of our brands are themed, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's just like with the BJCP guidelines, it's kind of a hoppier, kind of pale British ale.
Okay.
And yeah, it's pretty refreshing.
That's awesome. The one thing I love too is cream ales, but you hardly ever see them, I feel like, on menus and stuff like that. But some good stuff though.
Yeah, cream ales are funny because I don't think anyone makes them how they're traditionally made anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Not even us. We have a cream ale. It has vanilla beans and crazy hops in there, but it's a fun style still. It's a good base style to throw a bunch of stuff in there.
For sure. So Tyler, could you tell us about how you got started, your whole craft beer journey?
Yeah, sure. So started back in 2018. As far as brewing goes, that's when I started to homebrew, just like a little extract kit, how most people start, and really enjoyed it. But I lived in such a hot area. I was living in Van Nuys at the time, and brewing inside on the oven or on the stove was it was terrible.
Oh, I bet.
So I did a few batches, and then I kind of stopped for 6 months. But that first batch was really pretty good. It was an amber ale. I bet a million people have done the same kit. It's the Northern Brewer Block Party Amber Ale, and bottled it. And I had my brother over and a friend, and we went through 20 bottles of it, and we're like, man,
nice.
This is really good. And I think just, kind of how most people, you do that first batch and you enjoy it. And then there's just something, I don't know, there's just a little bug you get, and you keep wanting to do it. It's intriguing in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, like I said, I took a little bit of a break just because it became kind of laborious. And what got me back into it the following year was joining SoCal Cerveceros, because, doing a hobby by yourself is It's not great. I did go
Yeah.
online, try and find some local people who are also homebrewing that I could nerd out with. And there's the Maltose Falcons, and it didn't really feel like that was going to be something I could vibe with. Not yet. I mean, I love the Maltose Falcons. That's like
Hmm.
the oldest homebrew club in the world. But SoCal Cerveceros found them and really connected a lot and nerded out with them, and they just became my family. And it just helped. I don't know. It just helped push me into just super deep dive homebrew girl. Like I was brewing like twice a month. And yeah, so that was like probably a 5-year span before, or 5 or 6 years before I got into like professional brewing.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so that was a fun journey. Like I even worked at a homebrew store for a couple years out in Simi Valley, and that is where I learned a ton of stuff too. Learned about ingredients and kind of like the draft system stuff, which was fun.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, shout out to homebrew stores. A lot of them are closing down, which is kind of sad. I mean, not kind of sad,
Yeah.
terribly, terribly sad. Homebrewing is I mean, it's a fun hobby. Like, I think if you're kind of interested in it, try it out and see where it takes you. Cause I don't know, thinking about where
Hmm.
I'm at now, it's wild to think that I just kind of started on my stove and that's where I am now.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And then, obviously, like mentioned the SoCal Cebaceros, I mean, and you guys get to
Yeah,
meet each month, right? And be able to do stuff like that and have a community to be able to help you and support you in your hobby. Because sometimes when you are by yourself, there's so much information out there that it's overwhelming, I'm sure.
absolutely. It's still overwhelming. It's still overwhelming. Like the amount of, beer information that I consume, willingly, like I do it to myself is a lot. And it's probably a lot more than I should probably, I don't know, I should probably kind of like slow down a little bit. But yeah, there's so much information. It's crazy. So yeah, joining that club, I was able to go to some people's brew days and go see how they brew, how their equipment is set up. Learned a lot about people's processes, and that really, like I said, kind of jump started my, I guess, obsession with brewing. So shout out to them.
That's awesome. And when did you get like your first like professional job, obviously like with Shadow Grove, like when did that all come about?
Yeah, so Shadow Grove, yes, that is my first professional job, which is crazy. While I was at the homebrew store, I was part-time. I did have another kind of side contract brewing project happening at the time that I'm not involved with anymore. But that was a little insightful. But once I kind of was stepping back from that, I was like, well, I kind of need some more money and I want to go work as a beer tender, I want to go serve beer and I think that would be fun. And Shadow Grove had just opened maybe like a year prior. And it's funny because when they were opening, which was during COVID, I emailed them when they're like, oh, we're not really looking for help yet, but like stay in touch, stay in touch with us.
Yeah.
And so while I was at the homebrew store, so this is probably a year and a half into them being open, I emailed them and I'm like, hey, do you guys need any beer tenders? And my current boss is now, he was like, hire her now.
Nice.
'Cause I guess they knew I homebrewed and, I'd put that all in an email. So that was, I guess, 2021 or two. I'm really bad with years. Like, I don't, after COVID,
It's
everything.
okay.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, 2021 or two, and was working just as a beer tender for like half a year. That was super fun. Got to meet all the locals, all the regulars, got to learn, beer tending. I'd never done that before. So that was really interesting. And then, yeah, 6 months into that, my boss, the head brewer, was like, I'm about to have twins, or my wife's about to have twins, and like we're looking for someone to kind of take over the brew days. And we know
Okay.
you homebrew. And I was like, yeah, I homebrew. I've never done anything more than that. And they're like, it's just like a big homebrew system. You'll be fine. And I went back and forth for a long time. Like, I didn't have forever to think about it, maybe like a week. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'll do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, what's the worst that could happen? They fire me and I go
Yeah.
back to beer tending. Who cares?
You got to go balls to the wall sometimes.
And that's like exactly what it was, because I came on, I had like one training day with that brewer, and then he was like, okay, bye. And, not to his fault. His wife was about to have twins, It was, yeah, like, it's funny because I listened to your podcast with Hannah, and she mentioned kind of having a similar experience, being thrown
Oh,
in
yeah.
and kind of having to learn on the fly. And, there was an assistant brewer there who knew enough, but I think I had to, had to like untrain myself a little bit after he left. So yeah, that's how I started brewing at Shadow Grove, just after like 5 years of home brewing, which is, it's nuts, honestly. I don't know how I got here. I still think about it every day. It's crazy.
No, but that's so cool though, because I mean, like you said, like sometimes we don't, necessarily hear stories like that, but then like, talking to you and talking to Hannah and hearing that, that's so cool that, you guys, like, it was literally baptism by fire for you guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's very stressful, and I mean, I get stressed, every day just because I'm managing so much stuff. We've expanded since I've started. I think initially we had 7 fermenters and 1 bright tank. And now we have 10 fermenters and 2 bright tanks. And we just blow through beer so
Wow.
quickly. It's a blessing, it's like a good problem to have, but it's a 7-barrel system, and like we yield, with the less hoppy beers, like 6 barrels. So, I mean, not a ton, right? It's like just like 11 to 12 kegs of beer, and people just drink them so fast.
Yeah.
Like some of our brands last, a couple weeks, and we like to keep a variety too, which is, it's hard when your system can only pump out so much beer, because keeping, say like a blonde ale on tap is damn near impossible. So yeah, it's stressful, like, just because there's a lot, we're busy, and it's me and one other person, and we're just cranking out beer and every day. Like, I brew 2 to 3 times a week. We're transferring or packaging like 2 to 3 times a week, and
Wow.
it's fun, but it's very busy. It's very busy.
No, I bet. And I mean, kudos to you guys because you guys won what, a silver and a bronze at the Brewers Cup this year?
Yeah. We did. Yeah, it was the silver for, I think, our English Pale Mild,
Mm-hmm.
and then the bronze was for our black IPA.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
which
wanted
is
to ask you about the name for the Lepus. Was it because it was like, I was like, where did that name come from? Was it Lepus Californicus or something like that? Californicus?
yeah. So all of our English style beers are rabbit themed. I think
Oh,
lepus
okay.
means like rabbit in Latin or something.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a funny one. My boss comes up with the names. Yeah, I think lepus just means like rabbit in Latin or something like that. And then, yeah,
Okay.
the black IPA is, all of our IPAs are witch themed. I know
Nice.
to people who don't know Shadow Grove, this probably sounds like really weird, but Shadow Grove is like kind of like story, like briefly short, like story theme based, and like there's like characters and stuff. And so, yeah, all of our IPAs are witch themed, and the black IPA is called It Hunts at Night. And it's like, honestly, this kind
Mm-hmm.
of a creepy graphic. It's like
Oh,
this
that's awesome
like
though.
cow skull head with a bunch of, I don't know, it looks like from a horror movie. But it's a cool beer. I think it's one of our best beers easily. And it's a black IPA. Not a lot of people still make those, and I think we have a
Mm-hmm.
super solid recipe for that.
That's awesome. I mean, I feel like I always feel like that's really cool. Like when breweries can do something like that to and kind of incorporate, different things, obviously outside of the beer, especially like, like the storytelling kind of aspect that they're doing with their artwork and stuff. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, our artwork is all illustrations from this guy out in England. His name is Simon, and they're really awesome. Like you could see them on our website. All of our tap list is on our website, and we have the graphic for each of them. But really, really cool illustrations. Like whenever we do festivals and stuff, people are like, "Oh my God, like these are so cool," It's
Yeah, some of the ones I've seen, it almost reminds me of like almost like grim fairy tale ish kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It's fun.
that's so awesome. What are some of your favorite styles? Well, also like, what's your favorite style to brew and to drink?
I live on the crispier side of things.
Okay,
I mean, if it's like 5% and under, I'm down.
there you go.
And then, I won't say I don't, I used to like not really like hoppy beer, but I think the hoppy beers we make are pretty balanced. And I think I'm just learning to like, I think I'm just learning to like hoppy stuff and learning which hop profiles I can deal with and I can't, but definitely love lager. I mean, German style lagers. We have a Czech style pilsner that's pretty good. Not a
Nice.
huge fan of like blonde ale, but yeah, like light lagers, rice lagers, German pilsner, Czech pilsner, anything in that realm is that's what I like. As far as brewing goes, I don't know. I think that's a tough question for me just because most beers are brewed pretty similar. Like the process is, I wouldn't say not the
Hmm.
exact same, but I wouldn't say there's anything that I brew that's more fun than the next beer just because
Hmm.
it's kind of the same kind of thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I think like tasting stuff through fermentation is probably more fun to me than actual like wort production and kind of make seeing where it's
Okay.
going during fermentation and stuff.
All right, that's awesome. Yeah, well, mine is, yeah, I'm with you. Like, oh, I like West Coast. I like Pilsners, lagers, anything like that. Anything hoppy too. I mean, I love like, good old, like, single, double IPAs as well. But yeah, if they got something crispy, then I'm all about it.
Yeah, I think the newer IPAs I'm down with kind of like the Southern Hemisphere hop kind of profiles, more of the fruity
Hmm.
tropical stuff. Not like the overwhelming I like hazies, but more on the crispy, like there's some really good hoppy lagers coming out, like West Coast Pilsners and even like,
Hmm.
newer age West Coast IPAs are pretty solid. We have a West Coast IPA that I developed the recipe for and I'm actually super pumped about it. I think I've been working on it for maybe like a year and a half or so and the last couple batches I've felt super confident about. So, you know, it's called Coven, like because like I said, it's all witty things
Okay.
with the IPA, and it initially or originally was like a beer that I brewed with all the women that now used to work at Shadow Grove. I'm I'm the only one left
Hmm.
on that like OG clan, but it was a had a women's month brew, and then I've changed it since, but it's kind of what started it. So it's a good beer. I like it. It's hops are Strata,
It's exciting.
Madeira, and Mosaic. So all hypey. But it's like pale
Oh, that all
gold.
sounds great to me.
Yeah, it's like pale gold, crisp, like super refreshing. It's solid. I like it.
That's awesome. So I know we've talked about like, some of your favorite styles to drink. Do you remember like do you have like a worst brew day that you've ever had?
Oh God. I can't tell you one because there's so many. I mean, this sounds like pessimistic, but I would say most brew days I walk into like something's gonna get fucked up. And like, that's just like part of being a brewer. You kind of gotta prepare yourself for not I wouldn't say the worst, but just preparing yourself for something to go left. And then, you know, I think the true true sign of a quote unquote experienced brewer or a good brewer is just knowing how to troubleshoot your way out of it, which is, that's God. Troubleshooting is what I've kind of been learning, like only for the past like couple years. And even in my homebrew days, man, I would have really bad luck. And I used to think like, I'm like, man, something like there's like a force out there that's really trying to stop me from like pursuing like brewing, because like there was a time where like most brew days, like something went wrong and I was like, this is so frustrating. So yeah, no, I can't tell you what the worst brew day is, but I can tell you that I've had a lot of bad brew days. But like
Yeah.
when you brew, you know, 3 times a week or whatever, it's bound to happen at some point.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I'm sure that's it's like with the gift and the curse, because you're getting all that additional, like, like repetition when it comes to the brewing side, but then having to do that extra cleanup or all the extra stuff you have to deal with.
Yeah. Shit breaks, something runs out, something falls and, spills, or your, numbers are way off the charts from what you were trying to like aim for, your targets. And, I've learned to be in the back of my head, well, if the numbers are like way off, fine, there's something wrong. But if slightly off, it's like, it'll still probably taste the same. It'll be beer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, obviously like taking precautionary steps to avoid some of the more dramatic mistakes are always in the back of my head. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. I wanted to ask you as well, because I mean, obviously you were one of the recipients of the MJF scholarship. If you could tell the listeners kind of a little bit about that.
Sure. So the Michael James Jackson Foundation, started by Garrett Oliver, and I don't know if I'm sure it's him and some other folks, but Garrett Oliver from brewmaster at Brooklyn Brewery. He started it to raise money for scholarships for, minorities in like the brewing industry, people who want to go further in their education. Super awesome scholarship. I highly recommend, if you are a person of color, a woman, like look into it. And the application process is actually pretty easy. Like, I think a major thing they're looking for is like, are you in the industry, or are you kind of like transitioning into the industry, just so that they know,
Oh, okay.
like, you're going to school and you're going to apply that towards a career,
Mm-hmm.
So that was one that I kind of peeped into a couple times. Like when they first started, I was like, okay, this looks cool, but I don't know. I'm working in beer. Do I need to go to school to learn more? I think I can learn on the job. And then a year or so into the job, I was like, I think I want to make this a career, and I don't think I'm learning enough on the job as far as like how far I want to go into this thing. So I think it'll be beneficial for me to get some formal education. And so, yeah, just applied, heard back, and had an interview with Garrett and a couple other people, which was pretty nerve wracking. I'm like, oh, hey.
I bet.
But it was chill. And then they just want to know where you want to go, what school. They have a list of schools that they recommend, but the money isn't like a set amount. It's basically, find a program that you want to attend and submit that. And then they will, decide if they have enough money to give to you, I think, for that. I think, or, I mean, they might just have enough so you want to go to, UC Davis or Siebel. I think they have the funds to send you to those kind of like higher end programs. So like I said, recommend it to everybody. It's super easy to apply. And I think they do it like twice a year. So if you follow them on Instagram, they post like, okay, applications, due at this date. So, but yeah, I got the scholarship, and then I immediately used it for a school out in Knoxville called the Brewing and Distilling Center. And that was fun. It was a remote,
That's
mostly
awesome.
remote program that I did, and then I went out there for a week in person. But yeah, doing that on top of work was tough. It was
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it was like 3 times a week, 4-hour sessions. And I was always a day behind everybody
Wow.
because it's like on the East Coast, or no, not. I think they were Central. What the hell? I know there's a part of Tennessee that's like Tennessee has like 2 time zones, but no, it was good. I learned a lot. It was a good like kind of all encompassing program, and I feel like I learned a lot. But I do feel like I want to go to another program that's maybe a little bit more advanced next. So
Okay.
that's something I'm looking into because
That's yeah.
addicted to like being a sponge for like beer knowledge.
Yeah, how cool is that though? Because you can like, I mean, yeah, you're like a lead brewer, and you're still like want more. Like it's not enough, and you want to continue to grow within the industry, and that's what I love. I mean, when I hear people's stories like that, where they're just like they're never satisfied. So that's to me like how cool is that?
Yeah, and it's for me, I became a lead brewer out of necessity.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say I proved myself. I was never an assistant brewer. I was never a cellar person. I was never a keg washer. And for me, I recognize that as something that I am super lucky to have experienced because I know I'm in a position that a ton of people don't get to for years. And I guess I just got lucky enough to be in in the right place at the right time kind of deal. So I feel like I'm playing catch up because I don't have the, I guess, hands-on experience. Like I don't have a lot of experience working in a brewery. I'm still under 2 years at this point, which is insane.
Hmm.
Like it's crazy. And doing all the stuff that I'm doing now, it's like, yeah, I just feel like I'm constantly playing catch up, and thankfully I'm super passionate about it and want to do a good job constantly. So it helps, like it's plays to my benefit to like just have that like personality, I guess.
Yeah,
But yeah, I still feel like I have a lot of work to do to just,
like
be
that.
good and stuff.
Yeah, no, but that's cool though because I mean you're still like you're still willing to learn, you're still wanting to learn, and like sometimes you feel like you're playing catch up, but I mean clearly you're doing some stuff right up there too. I mean like you guys have won some medals, and that's so awesome. And even on top of all the other stuff that you do, you also have a podcast.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, me and my homie Lori, who I did meet through SoCal Salvacetos. Actually, on our first meeting, we met, and it's called Brewed Up Podcast, and similar to yours, laid back. We interview people. Did start as a primarily like home brewing podcast. Now
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, we talk to people who are working at breweries or working in the industry in some capacity. We've interviewed people that work at like, yeast labs and hop, farms and companies and stuff like
It's
that. And
awesome.
yeah, just trying to like hone in on certain cool topics that we feel like homebrewers and craft beer drinkers and, obviously professional brewers too alike would enjoy listening to people's, stories and stuff like that. So it was fun. Like our last interview was Blanca Quintero. She's like the manager for Highland Park, and a lot of people know her.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty well known, and we've known her for years, and we finally had her on, and it felt really cool, and her story is really awesome. So just not super structured, but you know, kind of just dipping into people's kind of like cool beer stories and histories and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and she's president of Pink Boots as well, right?
She is currently, yeah, she is still the president
Yeah,
of Pink Boots. She does a lot of stuff. She actually just joined the Michael James Jackson Foundation too. I'm like, girl,
that's so awesome.
but yeah, we're on our 6th season. Yeah, and hopefully we'll keep it going. We're both really busy people, but we make it so it's not like a super stressful thing, and we'll record when we can, we'll release when we can. keeping content going is tough. You know how it is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It can be a struggle for sure. And you also had Latrice Harris on recently. I had her on my show a while back. She's so awesome, the beer godmother.
Yeah, she's awesome. Beer godmother, shout out. Just another super passionate, super knowledgeable beer drinker and appreciator. I met her at CBC. She did a really cool panel actually with Blanca. Gosh, what's his last name? Chris from Pure Project. But like they're all kind of like beer
Oh,
educators.
Leguizamon?
Yes, taproom manager, kind of beer
Mm-hmm.
educator people, all cicerones and stuff. And that was actually probably one of the best sessions that I sat in because, I feel like it's just stuff that I want to apply at Shadow Grove. Like our taproom staff is pretty good. They want to learn more, but I think I have to be the one to, kind of implement some educational stuff there. And so really good information. But yeah, all dope people, all super dope people.
Oh, I like, yeah, Latrice, she was so nice. And Chris, I mean, I had him, I think he was like one of my early episodes. Honestly, it was like episodes like 7 or 8 where he was on and like, yeah. Yeah, and hearing like him, like, like just a passion he has for the business and like leaving Pennsylvania just to, on a whim, it was just like, I want to be a part of this craft beer kind of revolution. And it was a really fun time talking to him. So that's really cool. I'm glad I got to see that over there. That must have been so awesome.
Yeah, really, really good, super educated group of people for sure.
And what do you like? Is there something you like specifically about like the podcasting, side of it and being able to talk to people?
Honestly, and I don't know, obviously, I would say you could probably relate to this, but it is kind of being able to ask those questions that, if I normally see Blanca, Latrice, so on and so forth, I'm not gonna like be like, oh, hey girl, like, so tell me about, but I still am interested in that information and I know other people are. So it's kind of cool just being able to like kind of be that vessel for, hearing other people's stories. Like I said, I've listened to a couple of your pods and it is really cool listening to like how people started as a brewer, because I know you interview a lot of brewers. Like I listened to, Craft Beer and Brewing Pod and Jamie Bogner. He's a similar thing, right? He goes to all these big breweries and gets these like brewers and stuff to tell their backstories and like asking the right questions, right? So it's cool.
Yeah.
And we used to do a lot of kind of me and Lori, let's talk about this like kind of technique, or let's talk about seltzer, or let's talk about this. That part is always just fun. Like it's just fun to
Oh,
like
for
be
sure.
silly and kind of like bullshit and just, make it less so like I said, less structured and more just like I think people kind of like hearing us be dumb sometimes.
Oh, yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, and just like having fun and like it's just beer. It's just it's not super serious. Like we don't always have to go into somebody's like super technical way they make West Coast IPA. Like let's kind of just what's a good kind of recipe for some crazy thing if you want to make it during the holidays and bring it to your family, stuff like that. So I think, podcasting with Lori she kind of is my yin to my yang because I can get super technical and she's like very just chill, laid back and like wants to have fun. And so I think together we come together and make I don't know, like I said, yin and yang, it works.
Oh, no, yeah, I totally get it because I mean, even I think for me, like I like to talk to, to brewers and I love to hear their story and like, their success stories and stuff like that. But I mean, I always like to try to get them to like to peel back the onion just a little bit, because I like to get to know like them too, because I know it's not, I mean, yeah, beer is a huge part of their life, but there's also other aspects of their life. Like even with Hannah, I felt like when we were talking, it was just like the conversation went from one way, like all the way another to a completely different direction by the time the episode was over. So it's always fun to kind of tap into those things. No pun intended.
I am only beer. That's all I do. That's all I talk. I'm just kidding. Sometimes it does feel that way. I'm like, damn girl, like do something else, And so I think when I'm not doing beer related things. Like, I don't know. I need to like tap into that a little bit. I used to play guitar, so
Oh,
maybe
nice.
to that, but I do feel like I need to work on not doing just beer stuff all the time.
Yeah. Oh, and I get that too, because there's times where I feel like I don't want this to ever feel like a job. So I always try to, make sure that I give myself time off. Like, so sometimes I'll record 2 to 3 episodes in a couple of weeks span. And so I'll have like a backlog, and then I don't have to go all crazy trying to book something or anything like that. So that seems to be kind of helpful.
We used to be as organized as that, not anymore.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, I just try to I put one out every week, but it's like there are times where I'm like, man, I'm tired today, or man, I am hungover.
Right. And like your social battery is like it can't always be full,
Yeah, so that's why I try to do that little bit so I can record a couple episodes and then maybe take a weekend off, and then I can kind of go back and forth. And it's funny because even how we met at actually at the Pink Boots when they were at across from Angry Horse. What was
Oh,
that place called?
God. Was it Alchemy Craft? No.
Yeah, Alchemy Craft. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah, that place is so
Yeah.
cool. I'm like never over there, but I think yeah, whenever there's like a special event that I feel like cuz that night was gosh, what was it? It was during March,
Yeah, it was
right?
the Pink. Yeah, I think it was, and there was like Pink Boots, and they were doing that round table kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. That was awesome. It was like Amber, Monique, like I forget, Lulu. Shout out
Mm-hmm.
Lulu.
Yeah,
Who else? Bridget and yeah, some other girls. But yeah, that was awesome. That was good. Fun time.
yeah,
I
it was a
gotta tell
fun.
you
It
about
was
that. Oh my gosh.
yeah, because I know we were probably I think we were both a little buzzed at the end of the night, but it was a really fun event. And then I think last time I think I saw you was at the LA Brew Fest.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was a little bit buzzed that day too. So
I mean, we all were.
yeah.
By the time I got there maybe like 2 hours into the festival on purpose, by the way. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I have no business being at a beer festival for 4 hours. So got there like halfway in and we walked in and like everyone's like, blah! I was like, okay, cool. I
Yeah.
didn't feel like I
So you got
needed
to
to
jump right
catch
in.
up, but I kind of did by the time we left. But fun times. That was a good day.
Oh, no, for sure. And I was gonna ask because I was shout out to Art LA_Brew Life on Instagram. Did you know him before, like the SoCal Cerveceros, or
Oh gosh, I'm so bad at like remembering where I met.
no? Oh, no, I remember you said the dates thing. I remember.
Yeah, because I know it definitely like an Instagram connection, and then I remember him. I remember he'd gone to Shadow Grove a few times because I think his fiance wife family lives like right in San Fernando. So he would go there and then he would tag like in his stories he'd tag Shadow Grove
Hmm.
and me, and I was like, oh hell yeah. But I forgot where we like finally met face to face. But yeah, really good guy. Shout out to Art.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's such a great guy. And he's always plugging the show too. So I was like, I'm so
Oh
grateful for the guy.
yeah, like honestly, y'all's like Instagram stories are. I'm like, how do you have the time? They're like look so good. They're like super professional looking. I'm like, man, brewed up. We gotta step it up. Like, we're
It's
not.
time consuming for sure.
Yeah, we're not great at social media, but I don't know.
Oh, when I first started, I I look back now and I don't like cringe or anything, but I look at like some of like the old reels I made when I first started doing it by myself, and I was like, man, like I feel like it's like I still don't feel like I'm super great at it, but I'm like I feel like I'm at least head and shoulders better than when I first started. So yeah, it's just man, all that stuff's like yeah, took so much time to try to kind of get into different things or
Yeah, you guys have like
using CapCut.
graphics, editing. I peep.
One thing, oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. One thing I was love to ask you is that like, do you have a desert island beer? And it could be like you can do craft and a domestic.
I would say people are gonna like hate me for this, but macro definitely.
Okay, I'm with you on that. I like that.
Yeah, I like macro lager that's in green bottles, and it's everyone's like that's disgusting, but I'm like maybe I like that skunky flavor. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with it.
I'm down with a Brownie, a Stella, a Rolling Rock, a Heine
Okay.
sometimes, maybe a Coachella, but and then craft. Ooh, that's a good question. I think I'm gonna have to go with slow pour pills from Bierstadt.
Okay.
I think they put that in
Nice.
cans. I don't know, but man, when I went there, me and my boyfriend went to Denver like just after JBF. It was 2 years ago, and it was perfect because Bierstadt was empty because like they'd already gotten like run through.
Mm,
Week
I
prior.
bet.
So there's no wait. The only wait was, to wait for the slow pour, which takes like, I don't know, I forget, like 7-10 minutes or something, but so good. Like, so tasty.
That's awesome. I mean, I always wanted to like experience the slow pour, but I mean, there's no place out. I mean, at least none of the places that I've been to would have that. So
I don't think anyone out here does.
yeah,
But I mean, look, it's kind of a gimmicky thing. I think the
yeah.
process that they put their lager through is way more interesting than how they serve it. Because they definitely do it the hard way. But I mean, the beer is fucking awesome. So I am not going to
Mm-hmm.
question it. And I think
There
Latrice
you go.
actually did a thing recently with Ashley, she's the head brewer there, and talking about part of their process at Bierstadt. And it's just really interesting. They kind of like stick to their guns and they're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And, I love that.
Yep. Oh, for sure. I mean, like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Do you have like a favorite food you like to pair with beer?
Ooh.
Like I say, I usually ask like
Taco
tacos,
Bell.
wings, burgers, or pizza. Can't go wrong with Taco Bell.
I am honestly trying to fight my junk food addiction these days. I'm like in my mid 30s, getting into my mid 30s, and I need to be like better about it. But yeah, probably just like junk food, pizza, tacos, fried chicken, like you name it.
Can't go
Just
wrong with it.
shitty food, honestly.
Yeah. 37 and I'm like I that's a constant battle for me. I'm always battling the
Gross.
fact that like, you know what, Taco Bell I can just order and customize whatever I want. So,
It's terrible, especially like, you know, I think drinking beer just automatically makes you want to eat junk food. So,
oh, 1000%. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a burger person, but I mean I'll eat any one of like wings, burgers, tacos or pizza with beer. You know, to twist my arm. Oh man. I just have a couple more questions for you that I wanted to ask you. First one being, what do you love the most about the craft beer community?
ooh, I guess I've mostly in person experienced a lot of the like a Los Angeles based brewing community. Los Angeles, and then as a home brewer, definitely a big community there and just in like Southern California itself. But I don't, there is with most of the brewing community that I can really like, I'm on the same page. Obviously, there's, people in the industry that are, I don't know, they've got their heads up their ass or whatever, which I don't really
Oh
care
yeah, no.
about. Like, fine,
Yeah, I get you.
if that's you, do you. But I would say I haven't experienced much of that, which is extremely like, it's just great. Everyone's super nice. Actually, I had an experience just this past weekend. We were passing through on my way home off the 405 and went to Three Weavers, which is in Inglewood,
Okay.
and ran into T.O., Crowns and Hobbs. He's like, "What's up, sis?"
Nice.
Boom, boom, boom. He's like, I gotta dip out, but cool. And then as we were leaving too, like somebody else came up and was like, "Hey, you work at Shadow Grove, right?" And I'm like, "Shit, where did I meet?" And he's like, "We were drunk, but like we met." And I'm like, "Dude," I was like, "You look so familiar, but I can't." So that's kind of always like, right? It's like, where did I meet you? I know I was drunk, but
Yeah.
but that turned into, meeting a woman that works, just started brewing there. And like, we all four just kind of like had a really cool conversation. They were like, please take beer, take beer. Like, it was just so genuine and awesome and nice. And like, we were talking about kind of like different processes and like how they do stuff, how Shadow Grove does stuff. And, it's, I feel like I'm forming, really like kind of like lifelong bonds with people, just like feel like random people, honestly. But
Mm-hmm.
sooner or later, they don't become random because you see them everywhere. They're at this event,
Yeah.
this event. I mean, the LA Beer Fest that we like last saw each other at, like that's
Mm-hmm.
such a cool event because like all the brewers, all the owners of the breweries come, and it's such a
Oh
cool
yeah, it's
way to
so great.
see everyone that you're like, man, I haven't seen you like since
Mm-hmm.
like last year. So I would say in general, it's just it really embodies the word community, like the literal like definition.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone always is welcoming, always willing to like give information, which I kind of had to learn over time. I was always scared to ask questions. I'm like, am I gonna
Yeah.
sound, am I gonna sound like I don't know what I'm doing? I'm like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, that's why I'm asking a question. But everyone is so forthcoming with, tips, tricks, information. I just joined Pink Boots, but Pink Boots has been I've been involved with a lot of those women for a long time and super awesome kind of group community to be a part of. So I did my toes in a lot of different beer community, different facets, I guess, of the beer community. And like, I would say even just our regulars at Shadow Grove who come just to drink the beer,
Yeah.
that's my community. That's like my work community. And everyone is so freaking awesome, so nice, like super honest with me. Like, they don't like something, they're like, ah. But if they love it, they're just like, this is so like good. And
Yeah.
it's just a very positive space from what I've experienced. Like I said, I know my experience is not a lot of people's experience in the beer industry.
Mm-hmm.
I totally understand that. But I think from my perspective, it's been very, very welcoming, very positive, and it's a lot of just fucking cool ass people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then, podcast people too, like it's cool. So, beer
No,
drinkers,
yeah.
beer makers, all sorts of people. It's a very, very cool community.
Sure. It's like to me, it's I always say it's like one big like. I mean, like you said, like every like even every family has their like their kind of bad seeds, but it's still
For sure.
like for the most part, it's just a great a great community, and like you said, I feel like it's trending in the right direction. So
I feel like that too. And it's hard to keep in touch with people, and like LA is so freaking huge that,
yeah,
the LA Brewers Guild spans like a million miles. So,
it really does. Yeah.
a lot of the time, you can't always go see your friend's brewery, or, I mean, shoot, there's only been a handful of people that come to San Fernando, and it's like, I get it. San Fernando is really far and traffic is a thing. So, but, a lot of people are like, yeah, I'll get out there when I can. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Like, I'm always there. I ain't going anywhere. Like, just make it when you can. So, yeah, I get it. There's just there's so much
Mm-hmm.
space and traffic in the LA County. It's
Oh
rough.
yeah, it's crazy, but I will definitely be out there for that West Coast that you're brewing.
Ooh, it's about to be gone, so I'll let you know when it's back. I'm gonna brew
Okay.
again.
Sounds good to me. One more thing I want to ask you for a bit. JABF is coming up pretty quick. Are you guys submitting anything?
We're submitting 5 beers, and I'm very
Okay.
anxious about it because basically LA Works is doing everyone in the LA Brewers Guild is solid. We're all supposed
Hmm.
to like, bring our beers there, and then I think somebody's picking up from JBF from there or whatever. But one of the beers out of the 5 is being a little bitch right now. And
No.
it's really pushing the limit of like this time frame that we have, because it's like they're due next week. Uh,
Yeah.
so I mean, I'll say what we're entering. because I don't care, whatever. So we're entering the black IPA again. We are entering our Kolsch. And what else? We have an amber lager, which is kind of like American amber lager. We're entering our flagship IPA, which is going under just American IPA. And then we're entering, our Czech style Pilsner. So,
Nice.
yeah, kind of scary. It's the first, no, sorry, not the first time we're entering GABF. The first time I personally am. I think they entered it just before I started brewing with no luck, but I don't know. We'll see. It's a competition. It's hard to say. It's hard to know what could happen or what direction it's going to go, but all I can do is try and package them as best I can because they sit around for like a month before they test them, which is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, just package them up and say a little prayer and send them off into the big, bold world of Colorado.
There you go.
We won't be there at the actual festival pouring, unfortunately. One day.
Okay.
Maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out there for this year, so hopefully I'm able to go, and that'd be sweet.
I heard it's crazy. Like, I heard it's...
That's what I heard too.
It kind of sounds scary, but like, I think, I should probably do it soon before I'm like too old to be like,
we'll both be half dead by day 2 or something.
Right.
No, that's hilarious. Well, honestly, Tyler, thanks for coming on. This has been really fun.
Super fun.
So,
thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, thanks. And I'm excited to get out there and try your beer and try some more of your beer, and be able to, when that West Coast is ready, I'll be there for sure.
Sounds good. And yeah, just let me know. We are having our anniversary, our 3rd-year anniversary on, let me check. I think it's the 21st of September.
Okay.
So I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but that's our
anniversary. Will be out. I think this will actually be out on the 8th. Okay. So September 8th.
Actually, shoot, I don't know. I think our anniversary is maybe that Friday and Saturday. And then we're having our Oktoberfest the following weekend. So it's going to be a busy month. But I brewed for our anniversary a Belgian Golden Strong Ale, which I'm super pumped about. I really hope it I don't know. I pray for it because I made that recipe and I've always wanted to make one, and I hope it comes out good. And then for the anniversary, I made a German Pilsner, which has been I've been forever trying to make a really good German Pilsner. So we'll see how it comes out. But yeah,
I'm sure it's going to be great.
Shadow Grove Brewing on Instagram. We post all that shit. So
sure, sounds great. Well, thank you again. Well, we'll stick around. We can stick around and talk for a couple of minutes. But yeah, make sure you follow at Shadow Grove, and you can follow. Is it Tyler's Brew?
Yeah,
or I can leave that out. It's up to you.
Brew, yeah, Tyler plural Brew.
Gotcha. Perfect. All right. Well, thanks again, Tyler. And everybody, make sure, if you're around or if you're in the SoCal area and you have a chance to get up to San Fernando, go out and check them out for their anniversary.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, Tyler's, really awesome. And, I'm looking forward to, hanging out, and having some beers together over at Shadow Grove. That'll be fun. Next week's episode is the Doug Vilicki episode, which is honestly really fun too. Super nice guy, super knowledgeable about the business and how he got started. His story was really cool. So I'm excited for you guys to hear that one next week. Oh, what I was going to mention earlier was that I had someone mention to me, they're like, "Oh man, you really kind of opened up." I think, it was I think it was the episode 75 with Hannah when I was doing the read of the smut book. And I was like, man, all I do, for the people that I hang out with and the people that know me, I feel like Chew and Art, when I'm not recording, all I do is joke around. That is literally all I do. I fuck around all the time. And if I make fun of you, it means I like you. So what I was saying about that was that essentially I guess when I'm having a guest, because sometimes I know I can be not serious. I'm just in the conversation, that when I'm doing that, Like, I guess it depends on the person, because I know there's times like with Danny, like I was able to joke with Danny a little bit, and even like Dario. It depends on who I'm talking to, or if it's like a guy like Abraham, or I mean, there's so many out there. Honestly, like I feel like there's a lot of people I can joke with, but it honestly just depends too on the guest. Sometimes you have to, like when we're talking to them, like you can kind of gauge you can gauge the room, like what you can say, and I'll try to get like a well-timed joke in there or something like off the cuff kind of thing. But it just depends. Like it really depends on the situations. There's been, sometimes it's just I have an hour and a half worth of questions and I go through it in 30 minutes, depending on answers that I'm getting. But yeah, I mean, like even like with the guys at Noble, like all I do is like, with them, I joke around all the time. But yeah, it just depends on the situation. Some people are more, keep more things more internal. So it just depends. But yeah, man, I love fucking around. Like I love joking, and like I said, if I can make fun of you, or I can joke with you, stuff like that, that's what makes it even better. But yeah, so I mean, I just thought that was kind of funny, kind of fun I thought it'd be fun to talk about, on the show. All right, well, I think I am done. I'm gonna go. Actually, just got a haircut. I'm gonna finish watching some football right now. Got to take a shower, get all this hair off, and then go jump in a pool with a 12-pack. Maybe a 6. I don't know. Whatever I can find over at Ramirez. I'm going down to Ramirez Liquor today because my buddy lives in Pico, so that should be pretty fun. All right. Well, Tap Fam, you stay cool, you crazy sons of bitches. Just kidding. Love y'all. And make sure, support local, drink local, go to your local brewery, and find your beer. Cheers, Tap Fam. Oh, and if you're betting today, take the over. Cheers.